Hello, everyone, and welcome to podcast 9 3/4, a Potter podcast. I'm your host, the Half-Blood Princess. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the last words spoken by some of the Harry Potter characters before they died. But before we get started, if you love Harry Potter as much as I do, be sure to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Even after reading the series and watching the movies multiple times, the deaths in Harry Potter always affect me and bring out some sort of emotions. Here are some of the Harry Potter characters' last spoken words throughout the books. We'll start off with Professor Quirrell, whose last words come from chapter 17 in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I wouldn't say that Professor Quirrell's death was exactly a sad death because he was trying to murder Harry at the time, but Professor Quirrell was under Voldemort's influence, which is shown in these last words spoken by him. He says, "Master, I cannot hold him. My hands, my hands." Professor Quirrell died in vain in the underground chambers. Lily Potter's last spoken words are shown to us in Chapter 9 of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Harry learns the last words of his parents in a series of Dementor encounters. Lily Potter says her final words right before she's killed by Lord Voldemort, which are, "Not Harry, please, have mercy, and shows how sacrificing herself, standing in Voldemort's way, shielding Harry from Voldemort, allowed her to place that powerful protection magic on Harry. James Potter's last spoken words come from Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban in Chapter 12. James' last words are pretty much what we'd expect from any true Gryffindor. Without a second thought for his own life, James throws himself in Voldemort's way in an effort to protect his family. James Potter's last words were, "Lily, take Harry and go. It's him. Go, run. I'll hold him off." A lot of people think that Cedric Diggory's death at the end of Goblet of Fire is a key turning point in the series where it goes from a sort of light to a more darker series, because this is really the first time that one of the good guys die in front of us where things finally get real. Cedric's last words in Chapter 32 are, "Wands out, do you reckon?" Which shows how young and innocent he actually is, and showing how he thinks that he's in the middle of a school competition and he doesn't realize the dangers that were actually going on. Sirius Black's final words come from Chapter 35 in the Order of the Phoenix, and like with James Potter's final words, Sirius's sudden death shows who he was as a character. He was brave, slightly arrogant, and desperate to fight for what he believes in, with his final words being, "Come on, you can do better than that." Albus Dumbledore's death never gets any less sad, and Dumbledore's last words have a deeper meaning than what is perceived upon your first time hearing them. Dumbledore's last words were, "Severus, please." At first they seem like he's begging him not to kill him, but it turns out that he's actually begging Snape to give him a quick and easy death and fulfill the promise that he's already made to Dumbledore. And even when we do find out that it was all part of Dumbledore's plan, his death is always heartbreaking. In Chapter 4 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, we get Mad-Eye Moody's final words. Mad-Eye dies off-page, meaning we don't get to see or hear his death until after, so his last words have an added sadness because he says, "Good luck, everyone. See you all in about an hour at the Burrow. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Dumbledore said that Gellert Grindelwald felt remorse towards the end of his life, and I think that part of that is shown with his last words in Chapter 23 of Deathly Hallows. Voldemort comes to get information about the Elder Wand, and Grindelwald chooses to protect Dumbledore's allies by lying about it, and says, "Kill me then, you will not win. The wand will never, ever be yours." Dobby's death in Deathly Hallows Chapter 23 is one of the saddest deaths to me. I personally don't think I'll ever get over it. Ever since Harry freed Dobby at the end of Chamber of Secrets, and maybe even before that, Dobby was devoted to Harry, and this is shown by his final words, which were simply, "Harry Potter." Fred Weasley dies in Chapter 31 of the Deathly Hallows, and he dies laughing and joking alongside his brother Percy, with his final line being, "You actually are joking, Perce. I don't think I've heard you joke since you were..." And he doesn't finish the sentence before his tragic end. Remus Lupin, I think, was a pretty major character, but he doesn't even get an on-page death. His last words are tracked back to the moment before he enters the Battle of Hogwarts, and they seem typical of Lupin's character, with him coming up with a solution, which were, why doesn't Ginny stay here? Then at least she'll be on the scene and know what's going on, but she won't be in the middle of the fighting, which comes from Chapter 30 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Like Remus, Nymphadora Tonks also has an off-page death, with her last words being, "Have you seen Remus?" in Chapter 31 of Deathly Hallows, which is actually super sad considering the next time we see her is lying side by side with him in the Great Hall. Chapter 32 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows brings us Severus Snape's death and his last words of "look at me." Again, one of the saddest deaths from the series, in my opinion, and what makes it even sadder is because we don't realize the significance of Snape asking Harry to look at him. It's only after we read the next chapter that we find out that Snape was always in love with his mother, and his final words make sense. Harry does, after all, have his mother's eyes. In Chapter 36 of Deathly Hallows, we get a more satisfying death of Bellatrix Lestrange. Just like Sirius made a mistake of taunting Bellatrix with his final words, Bellatrix makes the exact same mistake taunting Molly Weasley. Her final words are, "What will happen to your children when I've killed you? When Mummy's gone, the same way as Freddy." Bellatrix then pays the ultimate price. And lastly, we have Lord Voldemort's death in Chapter 36 of Deathly Hallows. Voldemort's last words were Avada Kedavra, and despite using the killing curse previously on Harry 2 different times and failing at his attempts, he still attempts a third time, only to cost him his life. How fitting for his last words to be the killing curse. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and be sure to like and subscribe. Okay, love you. Bye.